Welcome everyone to my very first podcast. I like to begin with this quote that I found in the very first page of The Creative Act, The Way of Being, Rick Rubin. And he quotes Robert Henry, and he says, "The object isn't to make art. It's to be in that wonderful state which makes art inevitable." And this is what we created here. We wanted to really sensitize everyone, whether you're a plastic artist or a musician, an architect or an engineer. Everyone has that state, and being surrounded by a place that connects you and makes you sensitive, I believe creates this amazing environment. A conversation can lead to a new discovery or a solution to a design or an engineering process. So hopefully this is just the very beginning of having these conversations with our very first partners, and that we could also help you be more creative or find some amazing solutions. Well, guys, welcome to DesignLab. This is a dream come true. Since the very first day of our company, I dreamt of having this beautiful space where art, design, and technology interact in perfect harmony. Tomorrow will be the launch of the KEF Lounge, and thought it would be a great moment to have this interesting conversation of your trip down here, of our world, the laboratory. Welcome, guys. Introduce yourself, guys.
Okay, so I'm Ben Huggins. I'm the product training manager for KEF. Also a couple of other different hats as well added to that, including product management for subwoofers. I've been with KEF now for probably about 6.5 years. So, a dot compared to how long you've been dealing with KEF for. And I spent a long time out in our Hong Kong office. Now I'm up in New Jersey. And it's just been such an amazing journey, and continues, having come down here, finally coming down to Colombia and seeing this wonderful, wonderful space, and sort of getting to know you guys a lot more has been awesome.
Awesome, man. I'm happy to hear that.
And well, I'm David Bosch. I work for R&D in Maidstone in the UK. I've been with KEF for 5 years now, and basically my job is to design these guys.
Great job, man. Well, part of the things that are the founding pillars of our company, beyond that mantra of art, design, and technology, has always been the constant search of perfection. And I remember, almost 18 years ago, 17 years ago, when I heard KEF for the very first time, and that beautiful sound coming from those beautiful speakers. I mean, for me, it needs to go together. Back then, it was the magnificent Moron. Today, we have Blade. Now we have LS60s. I was wondering, from that perspective, and from the conversation we had, making art into science, where is the limit? I mean, where else can we go? How do we, kind of take that speech that Steve Jobs did so well? Like, how do you take perfection to the next level? How do we constantly work on that from the scientific, engineering perspective, and from the artistic perspective?
Well, we're always trying to make products that can fit people's lives. So we have a great range of products that anyone can afford, to products that are really high performance. And what we're trying to do, at least from the engineering point of view and product design point of view as well, is to try to push the envelope of what you can get in terms of performance for what you for what you pay, and the space you have, the resources you have, right? So every time we design a new speaker range, we try to solve the questions of how much performance can we squeeze from a certain product package, and try to use our technology to push that further.
Of course, Schaller DesignLab was born as Schaller Audio and as audiophiles and the first KEF partners over 15 years ago here in Colombia, and that portfolio started to grow into the immense world of technology, whether it's the control systems like Crestron and lighting solutions now. And lighting, it's a whole new world, and optics. And, we have companies from Italy like David Groppi, like you can see here. Or Targetti has been perfecting light for almost 100 years. I believe it's just you guys don't continue, or you guys don't stop surprising me. When I saw Muon, it's like, how do we make a sexier speaker? And then Blade came over, and then you wanted to make that same sexy speaker smaller, but have that same performance. And then you have Blade 2, and opening up the beginning of this year. Actually, it was beginning of this year, LS60. It just blew my mind. I'm just eager to find out, or just, and I never get tired of opening new speakers, like the tiny KC62, and having so much power and so much bass and so much energy coming from such a small package. It's like seeing Bruno here, biting you harder than a Rottweiler. It just surprises me, and the aesthetics. Having those beautiful aesthetics is so important to me. For me and for mankind, I believe, and part of what we do in DesignLab is balancing that out. It's just not enough for it to sound amazing. It needs to look beautiful. And you guys do such a great job.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's the thing that I don't want someone who's bought a pair of KEF speakers to say to their friends is, "Oh, check out my new speakers. Don't worry, they sound better than they look." Right? That pride of ownership must be at every single touch point. And one of my favorite things when it came to the industrial design, but we will never let the industrial design negatively affect the acoustic design. And with the years I've been in with KEF, I'm still in awe at how the guys in Maidstone work with the product planning and design team. It's just this beautiful kind of combination that just facilitates these wonderful products.
I think that's when harmony affects, and when you have different instruments, you never, the world will find out, hey, these drums can sound so good with these trumpets, and you definitely, I didn't understand it when I was that young, as a newly graduated engineer, but there was a language beyond math and understanding that the harmony of what I was listening to and looking at was just extremely beautiful, and that's something that I always have, especially in this lab, when we choose a product to be their ambassador. We just unboxed these. You guys didn't see these yesterday, and these are from a very, very talented designer, Colombian designer from Medellin. You'll have the opportunity to go to Medellin and meet him. Actually, he's also a musician and also a bass player. He's got a rock band. And look at this, for example. Look at this coffee table, and look how comfortable these chairs are. The chair needs to be comfortable and beautiful.
Oh yeah.
A lot of times you sit down in this chair is beautiful. I'm like, I can't be here more than 5 minutes. Look at this, for example. This beautiful piece of stainless steel coffee table. It was actually designed upon the most beautiful artwork of our natives 500 years ago, 800 years ago, called Precolombino. And this is actually called Post-Colombian. And you know what it was inspired? Look at it. Look at it on the side over there. Look at that one. It's Homer Simpson.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Inspiration can come anywhere. It's Homer Simpson. But yeah, it just, for me, so interesting to be able not to push just the limits and the envelope of how sound is heard from the perspective, not just from you guys at the factory. 60 years ago, Raymond had a dream, and that dream, that dream was connected to a powerful engineering team, and working with the first 4-bit processors, and working to develop these. I believe when you're able to understand that you connect that with arts and design, you just make magical things that make you feel better.
We're very conscious that at the end of the day, we're trying to reproduce these musical performance in your living room, and that the speakers are just the means for you to enjoy your music. And like Ben says, they are at the end of the day objects that live with you in your living space. So you look at them, you listen to them, they become part of your environment. So from the very beginning of our development, obviously performance is our most important target in terms of how the music is gonna appear in front of you. But these objects have to look beautiful and tell a story and be part of your physical environment.
Well, KEF is definitely an important part of my life story for many, many reasons that I've shared with you, and you're gonna understand another part. I'm an engineer. I have no musical talent. I cannot sing at all. And after I picked you guys, or you picked me, or however this worked out so many years ago, I connected and I met my wife on an airplane. 5 a.m. flight, and she sat in the middle between me and my twin brother, and I just started having callings and conversations about music, and I later put this tattoo that says music is life. But to make this story short, and I'll continue the story at our house, which is another KEF embassy, music is what connected me to her. She actually had just finished composing with a very famous producer 17 songs of what most people write about songs, which is broken hearts. It was all about broken hearts and broken into a million pieces. And I remember when I moved to Bogota, and I bought Julian, which has been with you guys for like almost 20 years, and he had this beautiful pair of KEF Blade speakers. They're in my living room right now. I told my wife, when I listened to her for the very first time, she wasn't there, and I took every single song that she had, took one sentence of every song and rearranged the song as like a love alchemist. I was like, why did you lose faith in love? Why did you lose faith in... So I rearranged all her songs to make her, fall in love with love again. And definitely KEF helped me listen to her soul. And listening to somebody's soul is almost impossible. How do you see the infrared? How do you listen to below 20 hertz? You can't humanly, but there's things there that you feel. And we've had this discussion with KEF before. That's why KEF speakers go way beyond what you're supposed to hear, but there's some harmonics that I think penetrate an important part in your hearts. And it definitely did mine. And this is why, many years later, this house, this DesignLab is here, and it's happy to have you here, and that tomorrow we open up the doors to the public. So really want to thank you guys. I know it was a big effort I know David didn't have any of his plans, so we had to come down, had to meet our entire team, and definitely sharing, at least from our perspective, from the art that you're making in your laboratory to what we're doing in ours. It helps to make the world a little better place, and that's what we do here. So thank you very much. I'm not sure if you guys want to share anything more.
Yeah, no, I think I can only kind of just expand on your point about connections. Music is 7 billion different things to 7 billion different people. Right? Everybody gets something slightly different out of everything, right? And I'm not gonna do the whole quote from Raymond Cook because it's a long one. I think you know which one I'm thinking about. But the first half is all about how music is the most indefinable, the most expressive, the most immediate, the most transitory, the most imperishable. But when KEF returns music to its rightful habituation, your ears and mind, we aim to do so the most natural way we can. without drama, without exaggeration, without artifice. And I truly believe that we are very, very susceptible to hearing when something doesn't sound right. And we start to hear the speakers. When a speaker is designed well, which David's extremely good at doing, it's almost like you forget the speakers are there, and you're just left with the intention, you are left with your nostalgia, you are left with everything that you connect into that song, because you're not hearing what's incorrect, because it isn't. You are hearing what is there. And we'll never say this is how something should sound, which sounds a little bit strange.
Definitely.
I prefer to say this is how it sounded.
Actually, you know, that just reminded me of something. Like 9 years ago, my wife was recording one of her best, actually probably the most expensive TV series that she did, and it was a multi-million-dollar budget and top-level actors and just beautiful scenery. It was done in the early 50s, so everything was done right. And she told me, could you go to set with me once? And I went with her to set, and these are some of the best actors here in Latin America. And all the actors were thrown off because, you know how the guy directed? He never looked at the camera. He just listened to everyone. He just listened to people. He wasn't even looking, so all the actors were like, why is this guy looking at me? He's supposed to be my director. He was just, and I'm sitting next to him. He became a KEF client and a good friend of mine. This long hair, rock and roll, full of tattoos guy. And I'm looking at this guy, and he's just, the set is over there. He's looking this way with his headphones on. No, it's not convincing me. And it's amazing how, and I had this conversation with him. Actually, I did his theater. He has a really cool theater, an apartment downtown. And he says, Greg, the way I get convinced is that conversation, I feel it, you know. It took a long time for everyone in the set to get used to this guy's way of directing, but you are absolutely right, you know. You can't feel that there is something in between what I want to communicate as an artist, as a love song, in between me, the amplifiers, the cables, and the speakers. And you guys, something happened, because I believe the world, the universe, the way it connects to me, it's directly. I have like a direct communication with a superior being, and connects me to objects which are extremely beautiful, which are pieces of art that for me will also remain, you know, that will live on forever. So thank you very much, and what an honor once again to have you here at DesignLab. I hope you enjoy tomorrow's venue.
That's great. Absolute pleasure.
Thank you guys.